What's up, y'all? Malcolm Reed here from How to Barbecue Right. When you're in the Chattanooga area and you're looking for barbecue supplies, you got to check out my buddy Steve's Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply. And Steve and his staff have all your outdoor grilling, smoking, live fire cooking supplies. You can find my Killer Hog stuff there, plus a ton of other cool stuff. So y'all stop in and see Steve. Tell him Malcolm sent you.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
All right, Tuesday night, not Monday, Tuesday. You have not relived your previous day like in Groundhog Day. It is Tuesday, and we have moved the catch-up show to Tuesday because my daughter has her new job, and it goes into that time period where I have to be on the air. So it was just so simple to just say, let's move it to Tuesday, and that's what we did. So welcome to the Tuesday night Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show. I'm Steve Ray. Pete Branton not with us tonight. He is still in Michigan, but Pete will be home tomorrow, probably late, and he'll be joining us back on Monday, and we look forward to his return. You can follow us on Facebook, subscribe also to our YouTube channel, the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show on YouTube. I'm going to tell you something. We have made a concerted effort to have people subscribe and like the YouTube channel, and you guys have come through superbly, and I appreciate it very much. We're up over 5,000 subscribers now, and I know that's not a lot compared to Malcolm and Heath and Matt Pittman and some of those guys, but that's pretty good for us, and we're real happy with that. So keep up the good work, spread the word. We appreciate you making the effort by going to YouTube and looking up the Owl's Nest Barbecue Show and subscribing to that. And don't forget to hit the button when we're live. It'll ring you up and you can come right on. We're brought to you by Pit Barrel Cookers, America's favorite drum smokers, by the entire lineup of Green Mountain Grills, the Ledge, and the Peak 2.0. Brought to you by the Blackstone Griddle, in stock now, a full line of Blackstone griddles and accessories. Stop by the store and come in and check them out. You'll be amazed at all the Blackstone griddle things that we have now for sale at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply. And also, we're brought to you by the best kettle grill on the market, the Napoleon Kettle Grill. More features and better quality than any kettle grill on the market. And we sold one this week to a young man came in. He says, I saw your show, and I've got to have one of those kettle grills. And you know what? He came in and got it. He came in and got it. Yes, sir. And he loves it. We cook on one out front all the time. If you want to come out and check it out, if you ever want to come by the store and say, Steve, can I cook on this? If you want to bring your charcoal, you want to buy a bag of charcoal, we'll fire up that grill, and you can bring hamburgers, hot dogs, whatever you want. And you can fire up the Napoleon kettle right there on the front and hang out with us and cook something. We love that kind of stuff. And believe it or not, people do that. They come by and they do that. And we appreciate that. And we want you to use our things. We've got a bunch of grills out front. We want you to use them. We got our Green Mountain Grill Peak is out there. Our, let's see, we've got the kettle out there. We got a couple more smokers out there. So anytime you want to come by and use one, by golly, you do it too. We've got a good show lined up tonight. Jerry Belcastro, our pizza expert, and Jerry has led an interesting life. He's from down in McDonough, Georgia, and he'll be joining us in just a few minutes. I want to mention just a few things before we get going here. The Nathan's 4th of July. I know. Some of you don't care for the Nathan's 4th of July hot dog eating contest, but I do. And I wanted to tell you when it is so you can tune into it. It is a week from this Friday. That would be July the 4th. And it's on ESPN2. And it's normally at 11 o'clock. And the pregame or the pre-tournament, whatever you want to call it, goes up to about 20 minutes till, and that's when they eat. And it's just a fascinating spectacle to watch. It's right there at Nathan's Hot Dogs on I think that's Long Island up there in New York, Coney Island rather. And George Shea, one of the principals of the Major League Eating, is he's your howler, your intro man, and he does a great job. He's a guy in a straw hat. If you've ever seen some of the videos, that's George Shea. And his brother Rich is normally part of the team that does the hot dog by hot dog play. So a little family deal going on there, and plus all the great eaters. Now this year, the defending champion is Pat Bertoletti, and of course we know that because who wasn't there last year? Joey Chestnut. Jaws was not there. He was banned, but they've worked it out, and he's back. So Pat Bertoletti will be going head to head with Jaws this contest on the 4th. And now, if you really want to impress your friends, or if y'all do a pool like a Kentucky Derby pool, so because you got about 10 or 11 eaters up there, these are the names you want. Of course, you want Joey Chestnut, you want Pat Bertoletti, but these are the other names to look for. Jeffrey Esper. He is a mad dog eater. Jason Webb from, I believe that's the guy from Australia. He is good. Nick Weary, he's the guy that's got the mohawk that he dyes different colors. And then you want to look for Mickey Sudo. She is the women's champion, but also she competes right there with the men, and she happens to be married to Nick Weary. So there's your names: Pat Bertoletti, Joey Chestnut, Jeffrey Esper, James Webb, Nick Weary, and Mickey Sudo. That's who you want to look for. If you got an opportunity to grab those in a pool, grab them and of course, everybody wants Joey Chestnut, but if you can't get Joey, one of those others will might win you some money, coming in second, third, fourth, and fifth place. And also, congratulations to our very own pro staffer, Sean Cosby, who went up to the big barbecue bash up in Townsend, Tennessee last weekend and came in 10th place overall. This is a huge contest with a bunch of big names. Of course, Sean is in Choo Choo Barbecue is a big name in barbecue. I think Sean finished first in chicken, 18th in pork. No, 18th in ribs, 9th in pork, and 11th in brisket for a 10th place overall. And of course, Sean is a Butcher Barbecue ambassador. Now, who else is a Butcher Barbecue ambassador? Michael Williams, who you saw on this show last week. Who else is a Butcher Barbecue ambassador? Jason Penley, who you also saw on the show this last week, who had a 180 in chicken about 3 weeks ago. Michael Williams 2 weeks ago had a 180 in ribs at the contest. That's a perfect score. So all three of those people have in common Butcher Barbecue ambassadors, which means they use Butcher Barbecue products. We carry Butcher Barbecue products at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ottawa. So what's that tell you? David Bosca and the team at Butcher Barbecue, they know flavor, and they can take mine and your backyard barbecue up a notch and just wow your friends and wow your compatriots, so to speak, on the 4th of July by going the full Monty and come in the store and say, Steve, I want to see all the Butcher Barbecue products. They're almost got the entire whole wall on the right-hand side. David got me started in the barbecue supply business, and I've always been one of his followers. So that's you can turn to David if you want good flavor, if you want to impress your friends, if you're a contest cooker, if you want to win contest, score perfect scores. use David Bosca's products. We're going to be right back with our special guest, Jerry Belcastro, our pizza guy, right after this short break. You're watching the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show. I'm Steve Ray, and we'll be right back. This is Ned. He is the proud owner of a pit barrel cooker. Ned, tell us what you like about it the most.
It's an excitement every time you use it.
Excitement?
Excitement. It's every time. I put a roast in there. My wife loved it. 3.5 pounds. Let's see, I've had steaks in it, cooked chicken in it, hang the birds in there, hung steaks, hot dogs. Put some seasoning on them and just hung them up with your little hangers here.
Yeah.
And just hung them up in there for about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes. Came out nice and juicy and tender.
Pit barrel cooker, old Ned. Here he is from McDonough, Georgia. Jerry Belcastro, our local, or not our local, but our tonight's pizza expert. Jerry, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. How you doing tonight?
It's good to hear from you. We appreciate you taking time to be on the catch-up show. Before the show, Jerry and I were talking, and lo and behold, we are the exact same age. Now, we won't tell you what it is, but normally, Jerry, when we do these interviews, I'm talking to kids that are 20 and 30 and 40 years younger than I am. So it's good to get one of the old timers in here. And it's too bad we're not sitting in some crudgingly old bar having a cold one. You know what? Jerry's he's a unique. Jerry, I want to go through what we talked to before we went on. Let's tell everybody about your food journey, because it is an exciting way to spend a lifetime. Give us a little backstory, the backstory of Jerry Belcastro.
All right, Steve. I came out of college, and my sister and I opened up a small little pizza and sub restaurant here in a little town of McDonough. And at the time, we had a monopoly. You had to go 20 miles one way or another just to get a pizza. So we had that little spot for 2 years. We expanded and had a whole chain of pasta and beer and wine. And we continued that monopoly for another 3 years. And then Pizza Hut and Domino's come along in the mid-'80s. And that sort of ties into my story later on, forming the Pizza Cook-Off Association. But during that time, I got married, and the opportunity come along where I got on with Delta Airlines, and I gave up my half of the restaurant to my sister. And when I got on with Delta, I pretty much started at the bottom, but I knew I wanted to get in the catering department because I was just in love with food. And it took me a little while to do that, but I eventually got on, became an inventory expert, so to speak. And then finally, I was able to got a position where I was in charge of all the ordering and distribution of alcohol for Delta. That was very interesting. It was I had a $13.5 million budget for alcohol, and distributed everything worldwide, and got to travel quite a bit. Most of that job was in the office, but got opportunities to go travel over to Europe, to France and Italy, the vineyards over there. They have a big wine show in Bordeaux, France every odd year. That was a blast. Even down to South America, down in Chile and Argentina, and then out to Napa and out in California to see those vineyards too. So that was interesting. And then my last job, I got on with I was an international regional manager of international catering. So that job entailed me being right in the international kitchen, working with the caterer, overseeing about 55 flights a day and anything that pertained to catering. So that job was very, very interesting, kept me on my toes. We worked with the tower when planes would get canceled and swapped out, and that was a real interesting day. But that was a very, very interesting job, and really got to see catering on a large scale for airplanes. And And for international business class, they made all those meals in house. So it wasn't your typical, frozen meal. Those went in the back, but that was a very interesting job there.
That it sounds like a fantastic way to spend a career. But of course, that begs the question, Jerry, how many little bottles of liquor will $13 million buy?
Oh, quite a few.
Not bad.
Believe it or not, though, about 8 million of that was the wine in the wine, and then the rest was the little minis and the beer. But got to really change that process a lot during my 7 years in there, and felt proud to hand that thing off. And then after that, I took an early retirement from Delta after about almost 25 years, and then spent the last 10 years with the Henry County Parks and Rec Department. I managed a recreation department, a little bit out of my element there, but I really enjoyed that. It was close to home, and I fully retired back in October of 23. October 23.
So obviously you couldn't stay in retirement and you had to get out and do something. And I guess that's where the Pizza Cook-Off Association was born.
Yeah. So back in 19, a fellow that worked with me in Henry County mentioned that his son was going to compete in a barbecue event that weekend. And I looked at him, I said, you got to tell me more about that. That really struck my interest. And long story short, when we found out about that, my wife and I had joined the Georgia Barbecue Association as judges.
Mm-hmm.
It was right before COVID. I think we judged maybe 4 or 5 contests, and COVID come along. But during that time frame, I heard about the State Cook-Off Association, and that really intrigued me, Steve, because you could do that all in one day, opposed to the barbecue where, it pretty much ate up your weekend.
Yeah.
And so, COVID come along and we're home. We're big into food, and we watch all those food channels. And we were watching an episode of The Foods That Built America. And the episode was on how Domino's and Pizza Hut got their start.
Mm-hmm. I watched it.
And that really struck home with me because that was we were right in the thick of things back then. And after watching that show, I told my wife, I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do my due diligence and check and see. So when I did that, I come to find out that they have a pizza expo out in Vegas, which I knew about, but that's only one time a year. They have a couple smaller expos down in Orlando and sometimes up in Atlantic City, and those are only annual or biannual. But there wasn't anything really, weekly as far as pizza competitions were concerned. So what I did was I really took a lot of rules from their competitions. I even, looked at the rules from barbecue and sort of combined it to make my own thing as far as how we conduct a contest. And if you want, I could just run you through what our contest.
We'll get to that. I'm not done with you yet. I don't want to get to the Pizza Cook-Off Association so quick. That'd be letting you off the hook.
All right.
I want to get down and get personal and dig into that back life. That's what people want to hear. They want to know, where did this guy Jerry Belcastro, where did he come from? With a name like that, where did the parents originate, Jerry?
Okay, I was born right outside of Pittsburgh. My father grew up with a fellow who moved down here to our area here in McDonough, and we came to visit on vacation back in the early 70s. And I know we're dating ourselves there, but it turned out my dad really liked it so much. We ended up moving here in 73, and my father was a builder, and it was like night and day. up there, everything was pretty much built and was there for a good while. And you
Yeah.
come down here to McDonald, it was, fresh and open, and you had to travel a long ways to get to places. And that was a little getting used to, but really converted Southerner, been here, like I said, since the 70s. We, in fact, go back home, not as often as I used to, but we're actually having a family reunion next month about this time.
In Pittsburgh?
And yeah, Pittsburgh. So,
Well, it's such a small world. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, but my grandmother and my mother was from Pittsburgh. My grandmother lived in Pittsburgh,
wow.
in Curry. So when I was a kid, I'm sure you know where Curry is. That is the coal mine, other side of the tracks area of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And she lived in a duplex there, right? And you could see the coal mines where my grandfather worked from the house, just about
Really?
right out the back door. And and I spent a lot of time there. So I would dare to say that you and I were in Pittsburgh at the same exact time,
Probably
every
so.
now and then.
Yeah.
My claim to fame for a while was I had actually been to Forbes Field and to Three Rivers. Now, of course, that's not a big deal anymore because I haven't been to the newer park. So, but one day
I've been to
I
all
will
three.
go.
Actually been to all three.
Yeah.
They actually have a game scheduled, or not scheduled, but in our itinerary when we go up on that Friday night to go to the game. So
I have two neighbors that are from Pittsburgh, and I love it when they go to Pittsburgh, Jerry, because they always bring me back a pound of Isley's Deli chipped ham.
Chipped ham.
and I know you've had it.
Yes,
And,
I have.
That's my memory of Pittsburgh is Isley's chipped ham and Tom Tucker ginger ale, that mint flavored ginger ale that they had up there. It was just fantastic.
Really small world.
Yeah, it is. But if you've been here since the 70s, we'll go ahead and give you your Colonel's hat and say you're all Southern.
Yep.
Because you put in your time. That's for sure. That's so neat. What a small world. Before we get to the pizza thing, did you consider yourself when you first got started, were you a barbecue guy or were you a pizza guy masquerading as a barbecue guy?
Yeah, the later. I've always been an Italian guy. The pizza part of it came in when we started the PCA, but the ironic thing about it, I wanted to do this thing with my wife, and we went to the judge's class, and she said, "I'm just going to sit in the car," and I said, "Just come on in, you might like it." Well, after that first hour, we took a break and we went out there, and one of the reps come out and sort of coaxed her to go in there, and she absolutely loves barbecue 1,000 times more than I do. I mean, and I like it. Don't get me wrong. I really respect.
I know what you mean.
Everything. We actually became pretty good friends with Robbie Royal. Went to his class. I just wanted to learn really just all the techniques and to cook good barbecue at home. I really didn't have any intentions of competing. And there again, I told my wife, I think we're going to go to this class. And she said, "No, you just go by yourself." I said, "Come on now. I signed us both up." She cooks all the meat at home now, everything.
Oh, my.
And she does it well. But I really have come to become good friends with a lot of cook teams. And like I say, I have total respect for what they do. That, to get all that timeline down and on a day of the event to turn in when they turn in is quite a feat, and on that level.
Did you ever did you and wife ever compete in a GBA contest?
No,
But you judged them.
we judged them. We actually got our master's judge status.
Oh wow, you
And,
judged a bunch of them.
Yes. I'm about almost 30 now, so
Wow,
we're
that's
still relatively new at it compared to some of these other folks, but we were actually, they asked us to be reps for the GBA, so we're reps in training right now,
Oh wow.
and really like that aspect of it.
So you really, you and your wife are really full-fledged barbecue people.
Yes.
So what now when you've had to have had a pizza background, did you, when you were a kid, did your mom or dad, make pizzas at the house? Did they have a pizza oven? Did they use the regular oven? Did they
No,
use to thaw out the frozen pizza?
no. My prior to us moving down here, we actually stayed with our grandmother and grandparents for a little while, and my grandmother was just a phenomenal cook, and she cooked pizza from scratch, and I was, a lot of times in that kitchen with her, because she I was a little gopher to go back and forth to the store and get her things, but I was intrigued. I really was at that age, probably 11, 12 years old, and remember at Christmas time, it started the week before, and she just made so many different things, but pizza was on the menu, and there was another dish that she had. My dad had 9 brothers and sisters, and 7 of them lived in that area at that time. And on Friday night, she made a dish called pasta beans, which was basically just shell macaroni, tomato paste, and kidney beans with some spices, and then come out with some Parmesan cheese on it. But it's just absolutely delicious, and that dish has been passed down to my kids as a go-to, as a really cheap and really something warm and good to eat.
Comfort food for sure.
Yeah.
Did she ever make a big plate of pierogies?
No, that was my other grandmother. My dad, was full-blooded Italian. My mom was full-blooded Ukrainian.
Oh, Ukrainian. Okay.
Yeah. So, we grew up on the pierogies, and as sure as in Pittsburgh, all those churches and all places that make all the homemade stuff. I can't wait to go up in another month or so to get some of those too.
Yeah, my grandmother came over on the boat. Came into Ellis Island.
My grandfather did as well.
Yeah, so they're probably about the same time. And it's I'm only one generation removed from still being in Poland. That always humbles me. When I see and hear discussions about immigrants. And I always think to myself, man, Steve, you're lucky. You don't know how close you were to not being.
Well, let me tell you this. In my travels with Delta, when I was in international catering, there was a period there when we merged with Northwest Airlines, and Delta really jumped on that for the European routes, and that's how I met my wife. She was working in the Amsterdam kitchen over there, and we combined kitchens, and I was sent over there to pretty much oversee that with a team. And my wife was actually born in Poland.
Oh my God!
Yes.
Not Krakow, was it?
No.
Okay.
No.
I was getting ready to sign on to Ancestry.com. If she was born in Krakow, I'd know we'd be related.
It's a town like I only say it the way I could pronounce it, but it's not the correct pronunciation. But it's Namaslaw.
Well, that's neat. Jerry, hang on. We're going to take a real quick break. You're listening to Jerry Belcastro. In just a few
Hey,
minutes,
this is
you're
Steve
watching
Ray at
the
Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply here in Ooltewah, Tennessee. The Green Mountain Grill Smoker Grill, the best pellet cooker on the market. Come on over, let me show you. A big hopper. It'll hold 18 to 20 pounds of pellets. Thick gauged metal. It won't rust. It will last you for years and years and years. The shelf right up in the front. Handy. The Green Mountain Grill pellet smokers. The best grill for your money right here at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ooltewah. Hey, this is Steve Ray at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ooltewah, and I am really excited about this. Eggs, sausage, bacon, Loco Mocos, for gosh sakes, on the Blackstone griddle. It's the fun part of your back porch. This is the fun station. This is where you all gather around and make great food. And we've got them now here at Owl's Nest Barbecue Supply in Ooltewah, and all the accessories too. The Blackstone Griddle. Get yours right here at Owl's Nest.
We're back with Jerry Belcastro. He is I guess, the chairman of the board of the Pizza Cook-Off Association. Jerry, let's get into that. We've done the background on Jerry Belcastro and found out that you and I were in the same town at the same time when we were children, which to me just is just incredible. It's just incredible. We may have been at Forbes Field together at one time. Who knows? But when did the idea of the Pizza Cook-Off Association pop into your brain?
Like I was mentioned earlier, during the COVID downtime, when I watched that episode of Foods That Built America, and I was telling you, I did my due diligence, and we wanted to start this thing out by trying to make it as attractive to anyone who wanted to really come and cook. So our rules are pretty wide open as far as what you could cook on. You could cook on just about anything, whether it's a pizza oven, a grill, any type of pizza stone, baking steel, however you can cook a pizza is totally, by the rules in our association, because we just wanted to get people interested. And we've got a nice little following of people that when we do have competitions that a lot of repeat cooks that compete. We, for our rules is for cooking, your pizzas have to be 12 inches round or 12 inches square. I'm fortunate to have some pretty good sponsors. And one of those sponsors is Portion Paddle. They make a paddle that has indentations in it, not only for the circumference of that 12 inches, and they make a square one, they make a round one. They'll actually build it custom to however you want to make it. But for our purposes, we have a 12-inch round and a 12-inch square that serves for the diameter. And then it has grooves where you can get 6 perfect slices cut. And
this looks like a peel?
It looks like a peel. Exactly. And we tell the cooks, in our cooks meeting, we hand out 14-inch cardboard circles with a pizza box for turn-in. We tell them not to cut the pizza because we want to judge for appearance before we cut that pizza. Okay. So we give them a 45-minute window for their first turn-in. And as you know, you could cook several pizzas within that 45 minutes.
Yeah.
However, you're under pressure, and that that's a different ball game. But the premises behind that is I tell them in the cooks meeting, do not try to wait till the last minute like you do barbecue or steak. Whenever you get a good pizza, turn it in, because that pizza goes from the turn-in table right to the judge's table. It does not sit around. We don't want that pizza getting cold. So it goes to the judge's table.
So they can turn in anytime during that 45-minute window.
During that 45-minute window.
Interesting. Now, how do Jerry? Is it like, all right, everybody's got to turn in Neapolitan, everybody's got to turn in deep dish or Detroit style? Is it that way, or do you get to choose the one you turn in?
Most of our contests are you make your own style of pizza.
Okay.
You can make anything you want, and I'm hoping it gets big enough to where we can have those, and that's what's going to be nice about this. Or we could change it up. You can make, it can be all Neapolitan, or it has to have certain ingredients. So that flexibility there, as we grow into this thing, is going to be pretty unique, because you won't be seeing the same, you won't get the same product every time. Our judges love that. So
how do they judge a thick crust against a thin crust?
Okay, so in our judges class, I keep all of our classes very small, and I do that purposely to really try to give everybody a clear understanding of what we're looking for. But on those categories, we judge for appearance, we judge for construction. Construction is how that pizza is built, and we're just looking for a ratio, a balance of the sauce, the cheese, and the ingredients, where nothing's overpowering or too much.
Mm-hmm.
Then we judge for crust on its own, and then we judge for taste. So to your point, for crust, it doesn't really matter if it's thick or thin. We have those criteria for crust, and we're just looking for, is it done enough? Does it have the nice brown color?
So they are lifting it up and looking at the bottom.
They are lifting up and looking at the bottom.
Okay.
They're looking at that gum line to make sure that the pizza cooked evenly from the bottom up, because most of these outdoor ovens, cook at a high temp.
Mm-hmm.
So the perfect pizza, your goal is to have that pizza cooked from the bottom up and the top down, to where everything's cooked evenly. Because if your stone's not hot enough, then your top's going to cook so fast, and it might not be cooked underneath. So we're looking for that gum line. That gum line is where that dough is almost on the raw end. It didn't get cooked through.
Mm-hmm.
And they learn real quick that you really can't pile the ingredients on there for that reason, because you want it to cook all the way evenly through. And for our judges, I devised it to where we have 5 judges, and the table captain does not judge; he just facilitates.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that for 2 reasons, because after we judge for appearance and we cut it and we start divvying out the pizzas, that last judge has a choice between the last 2 slices. And then that last slice will sit on that portion paddle during their process of judging, so they could refer back to it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, it's really proved to be a good process for that first round. So we calculate the scores after that, and we do a finals round. So top 5 will cook the second time. So I'll go out and I'll announce all the final people, and I'll give them their boxes and their circles again.
Mm-hmm.
From that point, we do a 30-minute window for them to go back and get their ovens back up to temp and get prepped. When that 30 minutes expires, we have a 10-minute window for turn in. So at that point, we have 5 pizzas coming in within 10 minutes, and they all get put on one table and get judged for against each other, comparative judging.
Okay.
For the money.
So the second round starts with, can they cook in that 30-minute period?
They can, but they can't turn in until that 10-minute window.
Okay.
So for instance, but you make up a good point there because, if you cook a deep dish, those deep dish, take a little bit longer.
Yeah,
so
it takes longer.
You can start, after that 30 minutes expires.
It seems to me I would leave after I turned in. I would leave my pizza oven on, going full blast.
Yeah,
if I was doing deep dish, Detroit
pretty
dish.
much have to. Yeah,
yeah. That's interesting. But then if you're doing a thin crust, you're not cooking until
5 minutes
18
before.
maybe 18 minutes after.
Yeah,
to get it turned in on the.
There's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of strategy in there.
Yeah, yeah.
But the process really works well. And what we do in the finals, we add that 5th category of overall impression with the decimal point in that overall impression to where we don't end up in a tie.
Mm-hmm.
So we add that aspect of that overall impression score in on the finals.
Yeah, you don't want any ties. What is it like KCBS 2 through 9 or 1 through 10 or?
It's a scoring, you mean?
Yeah.
It's a 7 through 10.
7 through 10.
We don't give anything lower than a 7.
Okay.
We got comment cards. We do the comment cards on the first round. We don't do them on the final round, but we calculate the scores at the end of the first round and hand everybody all their scores from the judges and their comment cards. And
mm-hmm.
we're really good about trying to deliver back that feedback to cook teams to try to make them better, because being relatively new, people just want to know where they went wrong, and a lot of them know where they went wrong. But as you know, when you cook, most of the people know what I did wrong, but those comment cards really help.
Well, absolutely. What how many people, like how many of these contests have you done?
Okay, so we started in May of 22.
Mm-hmm.
We only had 2 that year. 23 we had 5. I want to say 5 or 6. Last year we had 10. I actually last year I went up to New York and had an event up there. I went out to Omaha that's where Urban Slicer, one of my sponsors,
Matt Ham
lives.
Yeah,
Matt. And we had an event out there. This year I am a little incapacitated, and it's really thrown me off. For what I wanted to do this year, I'm probably only going to have about 5 this year. So,
what happened there? Did you burn it?
Yeah,
or?
I got arthritis in my thumb, and it got so bad. I had some steroid shots, and then after about the 4th or 5th one, it only lasted about a week. So it was getting to a point where I could barely open a door handle without that pain just grabbing me. So I'm about a month in from my surgery.
You got to be tough to get old, don't you?
So
getting old's not for the lighthearted. Hey, Jerry, hold on one second. We're going to take a real quick break. You're watching the Owl's Nest Barbecue Catch-Up Show with our special guest, Jerry Belcastro. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
I'm the king around here, but don't call me no dirt. I'm the king around here. No good what you said. I'm the king around here, but don't call me no dirt. I'm the king around here. I felt through desire.
You know, Pete, there's just something about charcoal, you know it?
Hey, nothing like the smell, the taste, the flavor, everything about charcoal is amazing. I actually think that's where we're back to, Steve. people are starting to enjoy charcoal again like they used to, and it's a craze.
It's such a good smell. The flavor can't be beat.
By the way, you know what I love about this? It's the handle. You know, this one pulls to the side. And I love that about that.
Yeah, it gets out of the way, and you don't have to reach over the flame.
Right.
The Napoleon kettle, you need to get one.
There it is, the Napoleon kettle. That's a handy tool. Do people bring kettle grills to cook pizzas on, Jerry?
There has been a couple. Yep.
Because they get really hot.
Yeah.
You put how many people do normally sign up for a competition?
Generally between, we've had as low as 8 and high as up in New York, we had 24.
Wow.
But somewhere, 10, 12, 13, 14 in there. I just realized that, we're in barbecue country here. And so most of what I do is I'm the ancillary on a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, we have some GBA events, Middle and South Georgia. We've done some of the events with them. And I've done some standalone events on a Saturday with our own ancillaries. So when we went up to New York, that was a really eye opener up there. It was harder to get judges, and we had to really actually turn down cooks for that event we had up there. So I'm going to branch out and go to more of these pizza cities. Chicago, I've been in talks with the guys over at Weber. Mm-hmm. He wants me to come and reached out to me and wants me to come do a judges class for his team. And I have a person in Chicago. She's been with me since day one that wants to be a rep. And so hopefully that'll work out and we get it going in the Chicago area as well. I'm going to go back to New York and keep it going up there.
But you could do a standalone contest. Like if I said, if we wanted to do one at my store, we could call you and we could put one together.
Yes, sir.
How many, if you got 12, 15 guys, gals, how many judges would you have to have for that many?
Judges specifically about 10 and then about 4 other people. So about 14, mm-hmm. 12 excluding my wife and I, to do a contest. And I know we have a few judges in Tennessee. I want to say 4. We have a lot in North Georgia. We have, they're scattered. We actually had a couple classes over in Huntsville, and I know from that class they came from Tennessee, North and South Carolina, Arkansas. Mm-hmm. So right now I have 220 members and about 115 judges.
Well, pizza is, it's, that show you watched, The Food That Built America. I love that series. And I've watched that pizza show a million times. And the number of pizza places in the United States it's enormous.
Yep.
I mean, it's just an enormous number. Has it been, are you right on schedule with the way you want the growth? Are you behind? Are you ahead? Or are you just happy with what you got?
This year I'm a little behind on where I want to be. Just for the simple fact I had this surgery actually scheduled in January. I wanted to get it done in the beginning of the year. And they had me back within 5 minutes of going back and doing the surgery. And doctor come out and said, we just looked at your chart and your sleep apnea is so severe. We have to do this in a hospital environment instead of a outpatient environment. So I had to reschedule, and it really threw a curveball with everything I really wanted to do this year. But
you were trying to hide it the whole time, right?
And
don't get me started.
I've been really fortunate, like I said, with sponsors. We have Alpha Ovens is our big oven sponsor. Matt Frampton with Urban Slicer. We got Mike's Hot Honey. We got Carolina Cookwood. Do you know Bud Williford?
I do. I do. I've bought products from Bud before.
Yeah, Bud's a really good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Portion Paddle, Caputo Flour. We recently got Peppadew peppers. Have you ever heard of those?
Huh. What's it called?
Peppadew.
Huh.
They are a red pepper about that big. They got a little bit of heat and they're sweet and they're just absolutely perfect to finish off a pizza. I make a pizza that has the Italian meats, the pepperoni, the capicola, and hot sausage.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes out of the oven, I put little dollops of ricotta cheese on there to sort of balance that heat. And then I put these Peppadew peppers on there. I say that they're the best kept secret of a finishing ingredient for a pizza. But I met them out at their booth out in Vegas when I went out for the expo this year, and we really hit it off. And they became our latest sponsor. So I'll have to send you a jar. They're really a good product.
The guy that usually does the show with me, Pete, he's a pepper connoisseur. He grows peppers and he knows all about them. What when people come to the contest, are they? It seems to me if I were to cook a contest, I would either bring my Green Mountain grill with the pizza oven insert, which does a great job, gives you that wood flavor, or I would go out and maybe buy I used to have a Thor oven I sold to a buddy of mine, maybe one a little bit smaller where I'd build the fire inside the oven. What do people bring?
We have, of course, the Uni and Gosney are probably the two biggest.
Mm-hmm. Are they bringing propane powered ones or pellet?
Yeah, they're both. There's been some pellets, but primarily propane.
Uh-huh.
We'll have a couple wood fired, smaller ovens, because some of those make a combination of all three. And the Halo oven has become a popular choice now for the money. They're right in the neighborhood of $500.
Mm-hmm.
It has a 16-inch stone in there that actually rotates.
Yeah.
And that gives you a little bit of breathing space for not having to continually turn that pizza, as you would have to do in a other little small oven.
Yeah.
And the top lifts up on that are really easy to clean. So I think I got about 4 or 5 people using the Halos. There's still some folks. I know one guy that has a Green Mountain that has the insert. He really turns out a good pizza.
Yeah, they cook a great pizza.
Yep.
Yeah. I love mine. I fire it up on Sundays and make a pizza here. A couple of them. It's fun to have a party. Make a bunch of doughs and put out like a buffet of toppings and have your neighbors come over and run a couple through the garden.
Yep, that's what I'll do here for friends and family too.
Yeah. Have you got I saw one picture of you. It looked like you were cooking on a pretty big Alpha.
Yeah. My Alpha was nice enough. They gave me 6 ovens from their biggest, their biggest Allegro, which is the big wood burning oven. Then I have a smaller version of that. It's called their Chow. And then I got 2 Brios that are big propane ovens, and then 2 smaller Modernos that cook the single pizzas.
Mm-hmm.
And then got a couple Gosney Rocks boxes that they gave me. They were sponsors early on, but they're not currently a sponsor. But Gosney makes a good. I can't remember what they actually call it, but they had a dome oven that was about close to $2,000, and now they came out with one that's around $600 or $700, maybe $800. That's perfect for these events. I know 3 or 4 people up in New York had those.
What's your favorite, Jerry?
Oh, I got it. I mean, my Alpha, I'm so used to cooking on those, and so, gotten so used to them.
Yeah. Wood burners?
No, propane actually.
Really?
And I got a story for you quick. I'll tell you real quick.
Take your time. We got all night.
They were doing an expo here in Atlanta, and Alpha was here, and my contact said, hey, there was going to be 2 reps from the warehouse from Italy coming to the event. I said, hey, I'll be there. So we met up, and this was prior to my very first event. And they'd asked me, how's it going? And, and everything. I said, I actually went locally to about 50 different pizzerias, just trying to get some interest for them to come out. My target's really the backyard guy, but at that time I was just, I wanted to get as big a turnout for that first event as I could. And they said, well, they said, well, do you need some ovens? And I said, yeah, that probably would help. And they said, how many do you want? 6? It's really took me aback. And I just thought about it. I said, yeah, I'll go with 3. And then eventually, got 6, but we brought those ovens out to that first event, and we had people that didn't have an oven. We provided those ovens for them, and it really, worked out well.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah. Their ovens, made over in Italy, imported here. They really retain the heat, and, the retention on those stones are really great. I've taken my ovens and done a little party, and I'll crank out, 15 or 20 pizzas, and, it don't take any time I won't have to wait in between for those stones to heat up. I just make them quick as I can, and they come out nice.
Yeah, we went to a big green egg festival this few years ago down in Blue Ridge. And the guy who had the most people around his exhibit area was a guy that had a green egg. And he was making pizzas as fast as he could. People standing in line.
I bet I could tell you who that was.
But he was almost like a microwave. He turned out a pizza in 3 minutes.
Yep. I know.
Was that you?
No, it wasn't me, but I bet it was Cortland.
I don't know who. I don't know what his name was.
He actually,
but he was fast and he was good at it.
He invented the pizza porta for the green egg. Now that thing, you open up your egg and that's the insert.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he developed that, it really created a convection heat in there to where he made a pizza in about 3 minutes. And I met him at an exhibit they had in one of the barbecue stores here in Atlanta, and that's how I got to meet him. And then he became intrigued about what I was doing, and he came down to be a judge. But his little invention there was quite something.
Well, Jerry, it's a fascinating thing that you've put together. The story is fantastic. You're as an interesting person I've ever met before, and I wish you luck with this. And hopefully, maybe someday we can hook up and have a pizza contest at Owl's Nest Barbecue up here in little old Ooltewah, Tennessee. How about that?
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah,
let's stay in touch, and tell Bob Harvey I said hello, and tell him thank you for hooking us up.
Yes, sir.
And what a great conversation. And thanks for spending so much time with me. I really appreciate that, Jerry. Jerry Balcastro from the Pizza Cook-Off Association, pizzacookoff.association.com. If you want to know all about it, you can join it there. Everything you want to know about the Pizza Cook-Off Association is there at their website. Jerry, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
We appreciate it. What a nice fella. How about that? Jerry Belcastro, our pizza expert tonight, and just a super, super nice person. All right, gang. Here we go. We got some good food pictures coming up right now. Hang on just a second. we're going to introduce these things. Hang on just one second.
Hey, have you got a hot rod? How about a luxury car? How about one of these? How about a weed eater? How about a leaf blower? How about a Ford tractor? You need this non-ethanol fuel available at Steve Ray's Midnight Oil in Ottawa, where everybody gets their non-ethanol fuel right there at Steve Ray's Midnight Oil. Great prices on tires, too. Come to Steve Ray's Midnight Oil in Ottawa.
That's right. If you need high octane, non-ethanol fuel, we've got it right there at exit 11 off of I-75, the Ottawa exit. We're on the east side of I-75. All right, let's get going here. Here is Dustin Bryant turned in some ribs this week. Dustin, those look fantastic. Look at that color. Looks just like a new penny that came out of the mint. It looks fantastic. Jason Penley checking in with some of my favorites, some grilled pineapple. As our friend Meathead said, grilled pineapple is the greatest tasting thing he's ever put on a grill. I don't know about that, but they're pretty good. There he is with some, there's Jason again, with some finished burgers that he made on, I think he made those on his kettle grill. And there they are before they went on the cooker. He's got some Butcher Barbecue Grilling Addiction and some Butcher Barbecue Grilled. We have that. That's one of the most understated rubs that we have. It's fantastic. And we've got some, looks like that prime beef rub from the Williams brothers down there in Mississippi with Malcolm Reed. Good stuff right there. Lots of flavor right there. And there they are. Yeah, there he is on his kettle. Those cheeseburgers, got that cheese. I'm not a cheese melter. I always put my cheese on after it comes off the grill. And there it is, cut open. And you know what, Jason? You know what? I see just a little bit of pink in there. And I like that. I like my burgers not well done. Matter of fact, I could even, if when I come over to your house next time, Jason, make sure you take my burgers and turn them down just a little bit, because I would take mine a little bit rarer than that. I know people think I'm going to die, but what a way to go! What a way to go! Eating Jason's burgers. Steve Davidson checking in with some grill grate action. He's got some. He's taken his grill grates, turned them over, and he's got some bacon going on there. That's a real cool thing to do. We've got those at the store, and there's Steve Davidson and his partners decided to do some ribs. Another great color. I guarantee you some Butcher Barbecue products were on that to give it that kind of color. And look at this guy here, Steve Davidson with the tri-tip. And look at those grill marks. He smoked that thing, and then he put it on the grill to fire it up, to finish it up. Look how nice those things are, man. That's a good-looking tri-tip there, Steve. I know Publix sells tri-tip. Tri-tip's hard to find. I think Publix is even stocking them now. And if they don't have it, you can ask them to order it. Food City will for sure order you one as well. And look at that turkey Steve Davidson turned in. Here it is in June. We're talking about turkeys. So, but that's a good looking bird there, Steve. And Thomas Damon from Germany, he's got this. It looks like it's a griddle. It's a griddle. One of those fire in the middle griddles, and he's got some looks like a big old porterhouse on there. He's got some other stuff. I don't know what that is. That might be some kind of a fish or some kind of a pork loin, maybe a pork loin knowing Thomas. And good looking picture there, Thomas, of some good looking meat. Folks, that's it. Thanks for tuning in on a Tuesday night. Now we'll be back next Tuesday. Don't forget. Next Tuesday, that's our night now. So spread the word, and don't forget, coming up at 9:00 tonight is the Barbecue Central show with Greg Rempe. He's got several guests scheduled. He's got some sort of a discussion with something about our food supply. It looks very, very interesting, and sometimes Greg has some little different varies off the barbecue trail, but something that is related to things that we like. And he's got them on their show tonight. And until next Tuesday, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to check us out at the Owl's Nest Barbecue this week, right there in Ottawa, Tennessee. Thanks, everyone.
Touch the sky when the weather's fine. You got women, you got
2025 homegrown tomato. This is number 4.
see what you can find. If a daddy's rich, take her out for a meal. If a daddy's poor, just do what you feel. Spend it all on me. Do a turn or a turn of 25. When the sun goes down, you can make it good and live by. When I family, when I daddy, when I mean, we love everybody, but we do as we please. When the weather's fine, we go fishing or go sailing in the sea. We're always happy, last for living, yeah, that's our philosophy.